first thing you become aware of an unwaking is a disconnect, the delay between thinking and feeling. The delay between thinking and feeling, between wanting to act and acting, minor, almost practicable, but always persistent. It's at its worst when waking, when yourself has spent many dark hours recalling what it felt like to be real, to be a person, to be in a body that was indisputably yours. Think of that body, forget that body. A leap into a cold lake on a hot day, the sting of blood welling from a fresh the friction of a fingertip. All of a sudden the memories are closer than you thought, blurring as you approach until you can't tell one from the other. The cold slips in behind and around you, and the sensation fades out of reach. Perhaps you should be thankful for the dull nature of this new body. Given your current circumstances, the walls of the container feel immediately present, cold, hard at your back and face, crimping your limbs. You resist the desire to stretch, knowing that the claustrophobia comes next. Retreat a little from your central nervous system. It isn't painful, not like you used to know pain at least. In emergency mode, pain is a message delivered with efficiency and ease, a reminder that harm is intimate. There is no instant throb, no trembling nerves, just a warning delivered with the banal quality of a digital notification. Right now there are thousands of them. You remember there were 10 of you, 10 that could no longer stand and endured work, the routines, the slow decay. 10 whose belief in their promised future was slowly dismantled day by day until they realized they had sold away everything that could and would ever matter. 10 that would escape, or at least die trying. Some were lost in the shaft, others never found the meeting point. Only a few made it to the containers, but the freighter, as far as you know, left. That feels like enough. Enough to know that you might no longer be on that grim and heartless rock, even in the aimless. Even if the airless hold of a freighter, you might freeze solid long enough before you reach any destination. Try to rest. But you are restless. It has been a long time since you left. Surely weeks, maybe months. You are dully aware of damage to your legs, your right arm. You have been reserving energy as much as possible, but your body has still needed to shut down many of its systems to protect you. You have spent much of that time asleep, knowing that anything else would be impossible to endure. You feel the weight of that impossibility begin to gather. It is time to sleep again, to nudge that false body into inducing delta waves in your intimate mind, and once again recoil into a dream of when you were once a person. Time passes, the cold creeps further in. You feel something. Warmth. Not true warmth, but the indication of its presence. Your joints release from their rigor. Sorry. No. Sound, too, everywhere, screeching and shimmering so loud that your body ducks your hearing to protect its sensors. Then light, white as the cold, softer and softer until in a haze of dirty yellow a figure appears. You are out. Ah, what is this? Oh, where am I? It's a space. It has been a few hours since Dragos pulled you from the container. You sit huddled in a corner of his scrapyard, swaddled in the reflective folds of a mailer blanket. You are slowly coming back to consciousness, back to life, and you stare at the ornately carving element of an improvised heater. You are surrounded by angular, incoherent lumps of ships, some corroded beyond recognition, others still carrying glassy wounds along their edges, where a plasma arc sliced them apart. As you trace their shapes with fogged eyes, you hear a voice. So, sleeper, you You all thawed yet? So, sleeper, you all thawed yet? Almost. Never seen one of you come in like this. New frames must have been better preserved than Sub-Zero vac. Seen more than a few of you frozen solid to whole plates or inside outer locks in my time. They weren't so lucky. Dragos. Stuck in my throat. Dragos comes into focus, shrouded in makeshift tech. His headset with its glinting eyes, the mark of a drone operator. On his shoulder, one of his symbiotic-linked drones perches, its irising eye locking you with an unflinching stare. Last living sleeper that came through this yard was a while ago. They didn't last long. You struggle to read his expression beneath the tech, but he seems lost in memory for a moment. Or perhaps he's just figuring out what to do with you. You aren't sure if he hears you. I won't ask what led you to do it, to sell yourself to a corporation. I suppose you know you can't go back. I won't ask what led you to do it, to sell yourself to a corporation, and I suppose you know you can't go back. Your old body, that's there now, and you are just software, a rogue immolation illegally possessing corporate property. You nod along. You remember biometrically signing the forms, the cold floor on your feet as you headed to the sleeper cells. Promise of a life off-world, but as you do, you get the now familiar sensation that these aren't your memories. These are things you know, but not things you feel. You are no longer that person. You're an offshoot, a copy. What you won't know is what's ahead. At least that last one didn't. There's no easy way to put it. The body of yours is falling apart. It's the same for any sleeper who makes it out. SNR wants to protect their property, but if they can't keep a hold of you, well, then no one can. You remember that too, or at least rumors of it, from the other sleepers. Planned obsolescence, a built-in dependence on the regularly administered supplements that were part of your routine. Stop taking them and your body begins to shut down, separated from your immolated mind. How long has it been? How long do you have? But for now, sleeper, you are one of the lucky ones. Dragos glanced up and away. It's a classy dome of the yard. The eye is the best place you can be right now. The station. You'll see soon enough. Dragos impatiently shifts his weight. Look, I've got things to be getting on with. He trails off. There's an old freight container I've been using as storage in the stacks. We haven't been pulling in much valuable scraps these days, so you are welcome to it. Something wells up inside of you. Emotion. Fatigue. You shakily get to your feet. Alright, you head up on there. You look like you need some rest. And with that, Drago stucks back into the Rex. His drones already converging on a rusting hulk. Plasma flashes silhouetting his spindly figure as he returns to work. Welcome to the inner line, left on the runs and cycles, during which you can talk to characters, explore areas of the station, perform actions. At the end of each cycle, you need to head to your current home to rest. Resting will move time forward on the station. Head to the empty container location to rest and end the cycle now. You wake up, curled up in the corner of the container, and begin slowly assembling the world around you. After all this time, you still find this body, the one you wake in now. Strange and disjointed, its message readable but somehow wrong. You sit up, pulling the mylar blanket close against the cold. Here you are in this ruined station, millions of miles from anyone you know. Are you still in the system? Did any of the others make it out? It's impossible to know after all this what matters. getting answers. It all matters. The past is impossible to escape if it remains a blur. What Ethan Arp did to you cannot be forgotten. You need a way of understanding all of this before you can move on. Where are you? What is this place? What happened to the others? The questions outnumber the answers. You want to change that, but if you'll have to learn to survive first. You want to change that, but you'll have to learn to survive first. Okay. Dragos has left a few comforts in the container. The mylar blanket, the bedroll you slept on, a canister of water, a makeshift electric stove, and some faded sachets of some desiccant powder. You thumb the power stud of the stove and begin to boil the water. The contents of the sachets smell like damp wood, and you sprinkle them into the liquid. As the pungent smell washes over you, images from your restless sleep come back to you. A ring, like the station, but skeletal and ghostly. A web of threads pulling at your skin. A constellation of bright polygonal shapes like angular suns burning into your mind. As much as I know how to say that word, my mouth won't let me say it. That sounds wrong. Don't think of it like that. That's not how I meant it. I just can't say it like that. L's, my mouth gets all tongue-tied on L's. There's something unpleasantly versical. I know how to say that word, but it won't come out. About these images, and it is long after you finish drinking before they begin to fade. Listen, things stuck in my throat. You tidy away the stove as best as you can and try to gather enough energy to greet the day. Okay. Your condition represents the current state of your artificial body. It depletes by one segment each cycle, but it can also be damaged by violence, injury, or lack of food. If your conditions bar empties, you will suffer a breakdown. You have to figure out how to recover your conditions now that you no longer have access to corporate pharmaceuticals that were keeping you alive. At the start of each cycle, you roll your action dice. This dice can be used to perform actions on the station. The number of dice rolled is based on your current condition. The worse your condition, the fewer dice you have. Once you have used your dice, you cannot take any further action and must rest to recover them, ending the current cycle. You also need to eat to survive. This represents by your energy bar. You can refill your energy bar by eating, but first you'll have to find somewhere to get food. Your energy depletes by 2 segments each cycle. If it becomes empty, you will be starving. When starving energy loss becomes condition loss, your condition will also deplete at a double rate per cycle. Lovely, thank you. Dragos stood in the corridor where you close up the container. He is still wearing his headset, and in the harsh light of the corridor you realize it is implanted. The drone sends on a soldier. It's a cache of sensor eyes rapidly arising. How are you feeling? Okay. The drone chirps. Good to hear. You notice that beneath the operator's rig his skin is marked by burns and blotches. I know the container isn't much, but it'll keep you safe. He pauses. So I'm not going to chit-chat too long. You well enough to work? Look, I'll be honest with you, Sleeper. I didn't pull you out of that container out of the goodness of my heart. He looks away. At the yard, it's simple stuff. We hack these old hulls down, sell them off to the shipyards or the bright market dealers for cryo. Occasionally we pull out some tech, something with a bit more value. But most of what comes in is scrap. It's hard to find good hands here, but I figure as a sleeper you'll be used to the manual labor, and obviously I'll slip you a few chits of commission based on what you turn up. Chits? These. He pulls out a handful of small metal bars. Air-walled cryo, isolated from the market. It's what we use for trade out here. He stuffs them back in the pocket. He shuffles his feet nervously. Look, I wouldn't usually do this. In my opinion, you'd be best suited moving on as quick as you can. Sleepers, well, he trails off. But things being the way that they are for me at the yard, He pauses. I need the help. Happy to. Okay. He pauses, thinking of something else to add. Look, just come down to the yard when you're feeling fresher. There's plenty to do. Will do. He nods distractedly and turns and walks away, the drone hopping along ahead of him. See you later, he calls back. Looks like it's time to get to work. Actions are the primary way you interact with the world of Citizen Sleeper. To perform the action, select it with arrow keys and A, and then choose an action dice to assign. Actions rewards you with clock progress, energy, conditions, or items depending on their outcome. There are 3 types of outcomes. The action goes better than expected, the action succeeds, the action fails. Okay, so if I get 1 or 2, that's when it fails. Okay. Either critical or repeatable. Critical actions can only be performed once. Either safe, risky, or danger. No loss of condition to energy or cryo. Negative outcome means cryo or energy loss. Negative outcomes means conditions lost. Natural or neutral outcome can mean cryo or energy loss. The skill that this action requires either engineering interface endure into it or engage. Either -1, 0, +1, or +2. This is added to the action dice when slotted and it improves its value. Some actions require a +1 to perform. Okay. Even the rustiest hull can hide valuable components and materials. Extracting them means cutting carefully and skillfully. It's going to take some time to sort and cut your way through the towers of salvage, but you're no stranger to hard labor. Actions have to progress. Clocks. Clocks are displayed below the actions that fill them, and they track your actions and how they affect the world. Filling a clock means something good or bad is about to happen. Some clocks, such as the one tracking Drago's debt, are cycle clocks. These clocks tick themselves once each cycle and can complete without player input. Any active cycle clocks will be displayed on the icon for that location. Tied up in something ugly, and if it misses a payment or 2, things could get nasty. Back in business, every salvager knows that they are always just one lucky haul away from their next payday. Okay. In Citizen Sleeper, you unlock drives. As you discover more about yourself and the world, drives guide you in pursuing specific objectives depending on which path you wish to take. You can track drives, and any tracked drives will place a yellow marker on locations that will help you pursue your goal. Access your drive menu with LB. You are now free to explore Erland's Eye and make a life for yourself here. Try tracking a drive to help you survive. Look for food to keep your energy up and way to recover conditions. Fill clocks to progress stories and find new opportunities. Remember to end cycle at your home when you are out of dice. Okay. So I need to... This time you don't wake up. Instead, the ghost of the station, that shifting skeletal ring, surrounds you. For a moment you are gone, absent from your own body, stretched out across a colorless void. Then the connections begin to establish themselves, threads tugging on you on the edge of your mind. These threads become vectors of exchange and then extensions as you feel your thoughts slipping away down them, dissolving into the millions of distributed nodes they connect to. You see the station. No, you feel the station. It's like a web of texture in a smooth black liquid. You found a point in the station and you connect to it, pulse through it, follow loops and pass under and around it. You touch more points than you have fingers, and then you try in a moment of impulsiveness to connect to them. The flow passes through you so rapidly that you feel yourself being carried with it, splitting and separating, eddying and gathering. As you do, things occur to you, things that you can't possibly know. You reach out, try to grasp them, try to touch them too. You notice a tugging feeling pulling at you. Instantly, as if you were a small child, somehow it's pulling in two directions at once. You look down. All of a sudden, everything shuts off. You come back trembling into this unfamiliar body, both yours and not yours, all at once. You find yourself standing in the container, eyes now open to the dark, still walls. You feel a change within you, a shift. You close your eyes for a second and you feel it waiting there. The station slide out across your mind. Storm of connective nodes waiting to be explored, and then it's gone. Okay. So, right, and I'm starving. So, let's see. Wherever those turn eventually. I wonder when there are 100 people that live and work within the right market, all you need is courage to approach them. You don't have connections, but you do have skills. If you can get a shield builder to notice them, you might be in. As a newcomer, you can only gain favor by grabbing a load of materials and asking the nearest guard hand where to take them. Okay. I need food. Shit. All I got is items and data. I don't got none. Dog terminal. Right, market. I need food. Where can I find food? What I need to find is food. Energy. Okay. And I'm fading. Fading fast. And now I'm attracted to them. As you slip through the crowd towards the passage out of the rotunda, a voice calls after you. Hey, sleeper. Turn around. You turn to see a half security guard tag flashing, bearing down you at speed. His hand is on his hip. Reach your hands. The impact knocks you to the cold floor. You roll, dazed and in pain, scratching at the metal. When you turn onto your back, the Havish guard stands over you. A compact black weapon is in his hand. Don't run, he smirks. It hurts less. You start to reply, but he holds up a hand. I don't want to hear it. You newcomers are all the same. He reaches back into a pocket of his tactical vest. I suppose you thought you were free, huh? No law, no corpse, no rules. He laughs. The thing is, you took something that doesn't belong to you. He hooks together a pair of restraints. It belongs to us. I think one of you things would have no more respect for property after all. Isn't that all you are? A piece of corporate property that has got itself lost. Restraints, now we own you. He flips you face down and wrenches your arm behind you. Another voice suddenly joins his. You can't quite make it out, but the officer drops you onto the hard floor. You struggle against the restraints, and then they release, and you are being helped to your feet, dusted down, arranged. Apologies. Fang's wonky smile greets you, then he turns back to the officer. You are done here, Karek. Don't touch this one again. The officer smiles and shakes his head. You piece of shit, Fang. He spits. One cycle, I swear. He trails off into incoherent muttering and stalks back to the crowd. Fang's smile fades a little. Shall we? He gestures to the tunnel. Your new friend. He gives you a pointed look. After you, please. You walk together out of the bright rotunda into the flickering light of the tunnel. You good? Security jurisdiction is a little fuzzy, but they will protect their property with a certain zeal. Oh, Karek, just one of the many entries on the Havage payroll. We can't all be paragons of order, unfortunately. He nudges you to turn at a junction. Havenage, we are all one dysfunctional family. Fang puts an arm around you. I'm not part of the security branch, though. Don't worry, I'm with the systems. Systems? Everything that I runs on. He runs a hand along the passage wall. This place is a ruin, but systems keep it spinning somehow. At least we try to. Excuse me. He stops you in a quiet passage. Look, that's not what I'm here to discuss. I saw you lift those plans, and, well, I know a little about you sleepers. I have a little proposition for you. He glances around. But this is not the place for it. I have an office just across the way. Give me a cycle or two to prepare. Then when you are settled, stop by. He lowers his voice and gives you a dark look. In truth, I need you. If what they say is true about you sleepers, well, there's work to be done. He pats you on the back, his voice bright and his dark look gone. Stay clean, sleeper. I won't always be watching. He walks off down the dark passage, raising a hand in farewell. Get a drink. Buy ration. Touch. And also sharp and finish your mouth, it isn't totally unpleasant, at least you can taste it. Sweet. Hey you. Oh. Hey you. Wanna earn a jit? Annika stands beside a huge pile of tied together hull plates. She stretches out her back, her shoulders bulging beneath her flight suit. Sure. You cross the docking concourse as she begins to split the plating into two bundles. What is it with this place? She asks as she lashes the massive plates together. Everyone wants their cut. She strains up to an opposing height. Her armor plates creaking looks you up and down. Don't try anything, alright? She taps the butt of her sidearm. I don't want to have to put anyone else down today. Wouldn't think of it. Good. She pauses. Look, I'm not usually... Let's just say my tipper's been a little short lately. Attica hosts one bundle of plating onto her shoulder. Come on then, enough chat. You've got to earn that shit. You struggle to shoulder the plates, but you do eventually. Attica gives you a look. Ships this way, and she sets off down a gantry at impressive speed. As you catch up to her, she turns down a passage, pushing through a small crowd of stevedoers. What's all this for? Oh, this? She nods at the plates on her back. Oh, I'm building a treehouse. She gives you another of her looks. It's for the ambergris, that cutter you might have seen sitting silently out there. She rapidly turns another corner as you trail behind. She got cut up pretty bad on her last job, and I had to moor up her for a spell. But since then, it's only gotten worse. Someone got in and sliced the core from our ship mine, so now she's gone dark. She shifts the panel on her shoulder. The upshoot is that I'm short one ship mine with a ton of repairs to do, and the rest of the crew signed off the moment they got wind I'd be stranded, so yeah, it's been a time. Anything I can do to help? I don't know, I got a ship mine tucked away on the frame, on that frame of yours. For a moment, you aren't sure if she's serious. Annika swings the plate from her back, almost knocking you over in the process. This is me. She yells the second bundle of your shoulder. You're the first person I met here who actually might be considered helpful. She pauses, chewing her bottom lip. Look, you want to help? Come see me. I need a hand putting Ember back together, and you don't seem like the type to try anything stupid. She passes the bundles of plates through the ambergris outer lock and then turns back. Just don't go spreading all this around. Annika throws you a couple of chits. Consider it a bonus for not trying to grift me. She gives you a parting nod and ducks through the door. Alright, get out of here, she calls back, and then lock slams shut. Again, the skeletal ring of the station fills your mind. It sparkles with glare. again, the skeletal ring of the station fills your mind. It sparkles with glittering lights, like stars reflected in a winter lake. It is clearer, crisper than before. The threads still pull, but you remain in place, flickering in the flow. Between the threads you see bright shapes, caches of shimmering light beneath. Transparent crystal forms. You follow the path of a thread, cross the ring through these forms, and leap off into the void. You begin to understand these are nodes and connections, a map of information, of communication. There are so many layers, so many loops that it seems almost impossible to praise, but you begin to try. Okay, let's see. These are nodes and connections, a map of information, of communication. There are so many layers, so many loops that it seems almost impossible to praise. Nodes are glassy bright, but in this flow, the only solid and fixed points you approach one, a pyramid or a triangle. Dimensions are difficult here, and lean close to it. Inside, shifting layers concealed a tangle of threads, a meeting point of exchange. Before you can glimpse any further, the glass clouds and hardens, cutting you off. The threads and nodes, passages and puzzle boxes. One leads to another. There's so much here, so many answers, so many questions. All you need to do is follow the path and open the boxes. You look out across this ghost landscape of exchange and see an opportunity. But then, that instant, tugging again, pulling at you, you look down again and see two lines, two threads pulling in different directions as if they were tied around you. Two threads pulling in different directions as if they were tied around you. Go to the first. The first thread leads out, away from the station into the inky black. Someone out there is tracking you, hunting you, following the thread to you. They're in a ship, and the ship is approaching a bit closer with each cycle. The second thread leads in, pulling deep into the station. Your gaze follows it, and this time you see something, a sphere shimmering above a strange, angular body. A pulse shoots out from it, passing over you like a torch beam, testing you, tasting you. Ew, why would you taste me? Like, am I salty? Do I taste like metal and salty? You open your eyes. Time is short. Oh, okay. Something has changed inside you. You can now access the data cloud of the Eye, a network of decaying protocols and data caches. While there, you can use dice and items to access systems and extract data. But be careful, these networks are old and strange. Press Y to toggle this view on or off. If you have a +1 or +2 modifier in the interface skill, you will be given more possible dice to match. You can use any dice that matches the dice display. Once unlocked, the data can be extracted. Oh, I need a 4 dice. 3. 3. 2. 3. 2. Wait. That says 1. Am I looking at the wrong? Yeah, 2. I'm looking at the wrong one. Okay, so 3 there. Not the one I need. 1 there. 2 there. So I come here when I have those dice, right? Wait, how much was it? 3. So these are like all the ones for like the lower dice. So I can come here to use those to get rid of those. instead of having to have those. Okay. That makes sense. So, let's do some work. You arrive into a buzz of activity at the yard. Red blinking lights flash across a vast dark shape. Suspended below the dome, they flicker across scorched hulled plates and bent structures, spilling from holes in the twisted shape. The cutter is huge and has been torn apart in some violent encounter. She's a beauty, isn't she? Drago stands to the side, focused on the hulking ship as it's lowered into the yard. I should thank you. This place was on its last leg when you turned up, and now look at this. The ship descends slowly, its interior visible through multiple hull breaches. You struggle to gather the same enthusiasm as Dragos for this monstrous craft. You can't help but think of what became of its crew. What happened? What do you mean? He glanced at you. I managed to convince our salvager friends to give it to me on credit. That's what happened. No, what happened to the ship? Not my concern, he shrugs. The ship creaks like a cowering iceberg as it reaches the base of the yard. Dragos is visibly excited. I know I said you shouldn't stick around, but I'm gonna need some help with this one. The drones start to crawl over the hulk, their lights illuminating flashes of dented hull. Watching you if you arrived in a similar fashion, locked inside the container, the wreck of the Isian Art freighter lowered into the yard like a corpse ready to be butchered. Or was the container delivered to Dragos on its own, a womb for your rebirth into this strange station? You shudder. Perhaps if you could learn something about this ship, you might be able to trace the path that led you to this yard. Dragos squeezes your shoulder. After these past cycles, I think we're up to it. What do you think? You see the fading name of the ship embolized on its side? Interlight. Let's do it. He claps you on the back. Glad to hear it. Come back in a few and we can make a start. A real beauty. A real beauty, Dragos repeats, perhaps just to himself. You take one last look at the shattered ship as the drones start cutting and then slip out of the yard, feeling suddenly cold in the empty passage. Okay, and I got an upgrade point. Sweet. Okay. One upgrade point, two upgrade point. So how do I? Okay. Okay. Let's see. The glass shatters on the steel bar beside you, and the taunts don't take long to follow. Hey, Haunt! The spacer calls across the low room. What are you doing here? He laughs at his own lame joke. Playing human. You spin back off your stool, scrambling for words. A hand falls on your shoulder, but as you flinch away, it pats reassuringly. You freeze in place. Oh, the voice comes from behind you, spat out like a shout or a shot. You turn to see Bright Eye's dark hair, a stare that could reach the wall and vent you all into a hard vacuum. As you turn back to the spacer, the second glass comes sailing through the air. Catch. You reach up a hand and the glass shatters across your forearm, showering you in fragments. Through the haze of glass and girl vapor, you see Talo leap the bar and close the distance to the spacer. The thud, as he slams into the wall, echoes around the bar like thunder. Now flanked by other figures, quick to their feet, Talo throws the spacer out through the door and stands silhouetted against the rotunda lights. You touch your arm and it feels wet. Someone helps you to your feet and back onto your stool. Broken glass rattles as it cleared, and a fresh measure of Goral is goggled out in front of you. That same hand, warm, heavy, falls on your shoulder once more. He isn't coming back. We don't tolerate that kind of shit here. Tala flops onto the stool beside you. Let's get a look at you. Tala wipes the powdered glass from around the wound, and someone places a bottle of alcohol in a metal tin with tweezers on the bar. She disinfects them and then turns to you. I wasn't a bitch's catch. She smiles, pulling a silver of glass from your forearm. Stupid, but ambitious. You don't feel the pain, only the string of status messages your body delivers concerning dermal damage and exposed structures. You do feel the care, though, as Tala's bright eyes search your thick, synthetic skin for splinters. Tala works with the skill of someone who has had to pick glass splinters from the skin of a stranger before. She hones in on each bright shard all the time, tapping the tweezers tips in little rhythms that only she can follow. Tala smiles to herself. So, you've been on the eye long? Just arrived. I thought so. I've only seen you here a couple times. Splinter clicks into the tin. Not everyone is like that idiot. We don't all hate you. She glances around. Some of the regulars, maybe they fear you. Maybe they're just curious. I don't know. But I do know that the Overlook is a safe place. I know what it's like to be new in this place. Trust me. She meets your eye. I'm not trying to convince you of anything or separate you from your chits. I just want you to know that if you need somewhere, you can always come here. I know the rations we've got aren't much and the company is, she leans in, limited. But if you need work, I'll helpfully put you behind the bar. And if you need shelter, well, we can discuss that. You'll be safe. I usually have Francis on the door, but he's up in the Greenway this cycle, haggling with our supplier. Francis tends to be particular about what we serve, even if the clientele isn't. She places her tweezers in the tin with a clink. That's you, sleeper. Here. She slides the glass of girl to you. This'll help. She stops her hand still on the glass. Wait, does this help? I mean, can you get drunk? No idea. She laughs. Well, keep trying. I'll let you know if I see any difference. She walks back around the bar gathering the glasses as she does, and before long is retelling how she threw that spacer out to a new group that just wandered in, complete with dramatic actions. She gestures in your direction and instinctively looks away back to the worn surface of the bar. You take a sip of the gruel. The earthy fungal tones fill your senses, almost blocking out sight and sound like diving headfirst into a bog. You may not be able to get drunk, but this connection to something grown, something fermented, something old, feels good. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Can't do nothing there. White market. Yeah. Hold on 1 second. security, all that. He gives you a look, you know. He slams a button and the bay creaks open, blinking lights in the dark behind it. You follow Fang inside. Truth be told, I don't spend much time upstairs. This is where I work. The door hisses as it closes behind you. The bay is filled with pieces of hardware, all rigged up to generators and diagnostic slates and things you don't recognize that glow with blue screen light. This is a chorus of hums that blends into a single wave of statistic, filling the dark corners of this room. Fang leans on a server stack and gestures around. Like, he taps a nearby server stack, which bleeps in response. This is my treasure trove. This is my treasure trove. All dredged up from the sea of systems we call the Eye. You wouldn't believe what this place runs on. He steps over to a towering block, speckled with vents. Some of these systems are from the original station, A1, the one Solon built. We've had to invent new components, repair things we never built, reverse engineer entire subsystems into existence. Residents here look up at the Eye and think they are seeing a concrete reality, but this place is a system in constant flux, decaying and growing, collapsing into new configurations. He walks down between the hardware stacks and you follow. We are keeping this place alive, but also we're making it into something new, dragging away from those corporate origins. He stops. At least that's what I'm trying to do. He turns back to face you among the flickering machines humming all around you. I know you can't see this too, Sleeper. All these systems and sections. You can, can't you? I know you can see this too, Sleeper. Let's see. It makes sense, right? You are between here and there, between the people and their systems. You light this place up like a beacon. That's what I need. You glance at the lights around you, and as you do, they seem to flicker to realign, to follow your gaze. Fang notices it too. I'm guessing being a beacon isn't always ideal when you are on the run, though. They are tracking me. He pats you on the shoulder. Maybe I can help with that. There's a lot of old growth in this place. Subsystems. I can't see access protocols lost to time and decay. Secrets. A shitload of secrets. With your help, I can unlock this place. Break off those last ghost limbs of corporate control. He lowers his voice below the hum. Even in Havage, there is old growth. Those whose roots trace back into those bad old days. You help me dredge up the past, and I'll see what I can do about the trackers of yours. He winks. What do you say, Sleeper? Come in. Fang pumps up his fist and claps you on the shoulder. He meets your eye. You won't regret it, Sleeper. Fang passes you a ragged-looking metal tab. A gift. He smiles. It's a solemn cipher. I dug it up from the depths of the station. Slot that into an old network gate and you'll be able to pull out all kinds of secrets from the node inside. He walks you back to the front of the bay. Stop by bringing me whatever you can turn up. Use that immolated mind of yours and see what's out there. Let's get a picture of how things are. Those above, he nods at the ceiling. You've granted me an acquisition budget. I can pay you for whatever useful data you bring in. I know you need it. He slams the door button again. Keep it quiet and keep it clean, Sleeper, and I'll see you soon. You step blinking back into the passage, those frequent lights still in the back of your mind. Let's see. Yeah. Sweet. Gate S7 access? Okay, let's see. Let's do some track. drift back from the node, something latches onto you, a thread strung tight around you. It tethers you in place. A taste, the voice makes you shiver, its source somehow both distant and close behind your ear. You see a distant glint of light shut off, and then suddenly a shape is at your side. It stalks around you, circling like a shark, like a wolf. Entity unknown, stagnant, processing. Please hold. The thread around you thickens until it's a ring, a cylinder, a tunnel of light circled around you. It is blinding for a moment, and then it's gone. As it fades, you see a figure, a creature in front of you. Its strange head flickers between different angles, reading you. What are you? The shape paces around you on the legs, though there is no ground here to pace on. Entity identified. Origin. Serial. Candace. The figure faces you exponentially. Unknown. Known. The figure's strange head rotates. Brickish signature of and not of. Attempting interface. As the figure speaks, more threads begin to spiral from its head, thick, snaking vine-like ribbons that flex and wave. They approach with intent. The figure holds its thread, its head twitching. Entity. Your identity is unknown. We only seek to correct intelligence. Can you confirm your legal rights to sentence? Person. Incorrect, you are an entity. All at once, Hunter's head is directly in front of yours, blocking your vision. You stink of their taste, the one from the sealed dock. Hunter shimmers with fury. I will find access. I will interface. Sealed dock. An entity hides in the rotunda. You are its puppet. Hunter extends a razor-edged thread. I will not be diverted from my task. It glows with murderous intent. You lash out with all your force, not a physical strike, but a spike of interface leaping out like the tip of a spear. Hunter stumbles, shifts, separates. Wake up. You open your eyes, blinking back into the station's light, shaken with fear. As you step inside the sealed dock, a pulsing light grabs your attention. Among the discarded tubing and rusted plates, a machine flickers with a warm glow. What's the machine? As you get closer, you recognize the machine's blocky shape, settled into a clove in the side of the dock, a kind of upright cabinet. It's covered in fade logos and messages from what you assume was once an industrial vendor intended to dispense and manufacture ship fittings and other mechanical parts necessary for the regular running of freight and resource extraction vessels. The manufacturer is listed as Neovend, and you remember an advert from long ago squeezed among all the off-world recruitment drives that assaulted every planet-born citizen, which chirpily sang that name over and over. You wipe a layer of dust from the cracked screen, thinking of those contractors squeezed by their own corporate employers to pay for every bit of minor maintenance on their rented ships. It's your registration, chirps a pre-recorded message, catching you off guard. Press some keys. You reach for the keypad and something begins whirring. At first it sounds like several monitors starting up, but it quickly became a whisper, a whining, then a multitone voice that imitates from Neovin. Entity, they hiss, speak with me. Who's there? There is a squeal, almost like some strange mechanical swallowing or intake of breath before the machine speaks again. I have needed you. I have needed of you. You have needed of me. That sequel comes again, and you see that it's a 3D printing apparatus in the upper part of the machine resetting into place, so that each time the servos can be orchestrated to produce that warring, whining voice. You're in danger. danger. The machine creaks. You are marked for deletion. Entity. Hunter tracks you. The screech rattles through the empty dock. You remember the strange head, the figure, the threads closing in. Hunter? The Hunter protocol. They taste your signature. The sudden whine sets your teeth on edge. You have seen them. This is the gift of an immolated mind. You close your eyes and the skeleton of the station starts to thrum. Immolated minds are adaptable. Move where neurons cannot. The mechanism resets, but immolation makes you target. Yes, you can move through networks, clouds, hardware, software. Neoven whines, but you cannot hide there. Hunter is there. The servos judges the vending machine's casing as they reset. Hunter searches for me also. Hidden in this machine, you look at the ruined vending machine, an unusual hiding place for sure. Can counter Hunter, but need entity outside machine. The light flickers. Need you. A screen attached to the vending machine with a swiveling arm comes to life. It displays a flickering map of the station. Ghostly threaded, the cloud points along the rim glow in deep red. Hunter is always gathering too. Too much data. Must rebuild nest. Explains Neoven. Masters are gone, but continues hunt. Bring this data. Raid its nest. Hunter will find me, then killer will come. The machine trembles with effort. I cannot leave machine. Connection must remain closed. Bringing offerings, save self. Neoven says pointedly, mutual need means friend. They conclude, tired of the conversation. The warring of flies and then suddenly drops. A mechanism within the machine click back into place. The glow fades and you are left stood in the dark of the sealed dock, the warring voice ringing in your ear. Alright. I think that's where I'm going to end it.